Alright, welcome guys to one of the last videos for the DIY kits. What we're going to do today is we're going to show you how to start reassembling the lights that you've started building. We're going to go over how to secure the wires, make sure they're good for many years to come, make sure nothing shorts, as well as how to seal the light back together. So what you're going to need as far as materials is two kinds of adhesives. One is going to be the adhesive to secure the board to the light, as well as glue these down. What I like to use is Amazing Goop or Shoe Glue. These are basically the same thing. Because this particular light is going to stay chrome instead of black, I got clear. They also come in black. And for the same reason, what we're going to use to seal the taillight as well is GE Silicone 2. So I want to point out Silicone 2 is very important because this is the version that does not release citric acid when it cures. Try to use Silicone 2. It's a lot nicer to your nose, and it cures neutrally. So for this case, I'm going to be using the clear version. They also obviously make a black version if you have black panels. So let's get right to it. So one of the first things you're going to want to do before you start any of this is constantly make sure that nothing happens to your light. So as you're building it and assembling it, stuff will get knocked around, and it is quite common to see stuff short out or get broken off while you're doing this. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to make sure everything works. So what this specifically is this is an LS400 corner light wired to a sequential module. So I want to make sure that everything works. So you can see here it does, right? So if you zoom closer in, you'll notice that these rails still have little flecks in them, right? And you can see some of these actually get dangerously close to the resistors. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to lay down some shoe glue to more or less hold these copper wires in place. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the shoe glue. And I'm going to put it on my finger. It's okay for your finger. You just need to rub a little bit to get it off. Put it down on basically anything that I'm worried about shaking loose. All right. So on top of that, I'm also going to check. So these wires right here, they can get pulled out just like that. So I'm going to do the same thing with the shoe glue. I'm going to take some shoe glue and I'm just going to put it on where there's any wires coming off the board. So you don't really need to do it for this because this doesn't get pulled ever. It just kind of stays there. But it is important that you do it for any wires that come off the board and go to the harness or anything that could possibly get pulled. And just get off my hands. And now this will sit for maybe 30 minutes to let cure. So while doing that, I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. So while the panels are drying, you want to go ahead and prep the lights to get assembled. So if there's any dust left over from the cutting process, just go ahead and get compressed air or make sure you get all that off. And on top of that, if you cut with the Dremel especially, you'll see that the Dremel leaves cutting marks. So you can either just get a pair of pliers or snips and just break that all off. That way, you know, as you assemble it, it doesn't accidentally get knocked out and then, you know, end up in your light. So now what we're doing is we're starting the final preparations of getting this sealed together. So I've got the board fitted in, the shoe glue is dried more or less. And what I'm doing is I'm putting double-sided tape on the back of the modules so I can put on the flat side of this. If you don't have a flat side for your particular application, you can also use zip ties or hot glue or just shoe glue. So what I've done here is actually I've put double-sided tape, you can actually see it here, over the leads of the wiring, just so I know for sure that it's not going to short, because this is chrome and the chrome is conductive. So now that it's here, I'm going to go ahead and put it down. So put this down on the flat part and put this down. And now I can wire these output wires just out here. Like that. So that's ready to go. So what I'm going to want to do next is I want to zip tie these wires together just so they don't get bunched up and you won't be able to see them behind the light. So I'm going to go ahead and get a zip tie and we're going to start basically doing the final sealing. No problem? Are you going to teach me how to zip tie? Are you a zip tie technician? So before we basically put everything together and seal, you'll notice that this panel moves around a little bit, so we're going to want to secure it. So the easiest way to do this is just get the shoe glue like usual, and shugu over a couple of contact points. So you see it's contacting right here. So you just put a little shugu there. And what that's going to do is it's going to secure it to the outside rim of the board. And you also, since it's clear, won't be able to see it. So I'm going to do that right here, 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 there, here. I'm going to let this dry and come back to it and we're ready to seal. So now that everything's ready to go together, we're going to do the final step. This involves the silicone tube, the caulk gun, the gloves, and some clamps that I forgot to mention earlier. But what you're going to do is, just as a side note, we actually cut sections out here and here just so everything clears, and we will be filling it later with butyl tape. But for now, we're just going to ignore that part. But you see everything's a cut line here, right? So what we're going to do, take the sealant, punch the hole in it, load it, give it a little bit of a squeeze to make sure it's working. It's working. You just got it like that. It came. Gross. So we're gonna take the clear silicone, basically line it along the whole cut line. So So what you're gonna start doing is take the clear silicone or silicone of your choice and slowly just do a bead around the light. On the side. Once you get that first pass done, it would be a good idea to get some clamps. Just lightly clamp everything down. While it is sticking, take your finger and just clean up the seams the best you can. I'll seal this hole later. But other than that, that is it sealed. So I'm going to try to put another clamp on to get it to hold correctly. And that is, that is done. So I'll let it sit, clean it up a little bit without destroying everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, smash that like button. If you have any questions, feel free to message us on Facebook or email us at illumaesthetic@gmail.com. And I hope this was useful for you guys. Take care and goodbye.